All right, thank you. So during this meeting, we will be utilizing both the chat and the Q&A function of Zoom webinar. If you have general comments, please feel free to enter it into the chat. For example, if at some point you're not able to hear us loudly, you're not able to see our screen share, please let us know via chat. If you have specific programmatic questions, please enter those questions in the Q&A box. We will try to go through those questions during the call and answer as many questions as we can. And towards the end of the meeting, we will have another dedicated time to answer any remaining questions that we have. And at this point, I'm actually going to start by asking if you're able to see the screen right now. You should have a PowerPoint slide in front of you. It's basically just a cover slide that says the Chiefs Community Advisory Board Virtual Information Session. Just want to make sure people can see that. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Chief Sean Washington. Chief?
All right, well, thank you, Amy, and welcome, everyone. I am excited, honored, and privileged to be before you tonight to talk about the Chiefs Community Advisory Board. This is a valuable program for me as a chief of police and our department, quite frankly. And, we get a lot of support. And tonight, this whole presentation would not be possible without the assistance of our public affairs and community engagement team and so many others, my community advisory board that has made tonight possible. The purpose of tonight is to ensure that anyone that is considering joining the Chiefs Community Advisory Board has an opportunity to hear from some of the current members, as well as ask questions and get some information about what you might expect from this particular group. And so I'll start there. And again, I want to thank so many people for attending today, because I do believe in this program. It's several decades old, and it has proven to be a great asset to your police department. So the Chiefs Community Advisory Board, this board, these folks from our community, it makes us a better department. There's no doubt about that. It makes me a better chief. There's no doubt about that. A lot of people understand and they know that I believe in the core principles of Sir Robert Peel, who in 1829 stated that the police are the community and the community are the police. So we police with the consent, and the authority is given to us from our community. So it's important to me as a chief to be effective. We have to hear the perspectives of our community, and what better way to do that than to have this board and consistently engage with our community as we make decisions on our public safety objectives. So some of the things that this board does for me and the department is we discuss matters involving policy, equipment acquisition, crime trends, crime priorities for our community. I listen and I get that feedback real time from those that are being impacted by these decisions. I want to hear the perspectives of the folks that we serve. We're fortunate to have a group of sustaining members, and these are folks who have been involved in the community, lived in the community, have worked in the community for many years, oftentimes decades. And those sustaining members really have served our department well. And we have a few that has joined today, and I will allow them to introduce themselves after I speak. But it was important for the sustaining members to be here as well to answer some of your questions, and so they can share their experience. The adjustment that we're making, The enhancement that we're making to my advisory group is we want to ensure that we have a very diverse group of individuals who are going to be in an advisory capacity for me as chief, but also we want to ensure that we had every excuse me, every district within our community represented. So those were two things. The more voices that I hear, the better. You know, we can't make the community advisory group too large because then you kind of lose control. But, you know, we are going to increase our numbers up to 25. That would be the max. Right now, I think we have about 14 or so. So we're looking for several others to come join us. So if you're interested right now, what you would be serving in is a district representative. And you can serve up to 2 years in that capacity. And then you would rotate out and we would give other members of the community an opportunity. I do have the authority to directly appoint up to 5 individuals that I feel will help balance the group. So I reserve that right. And what you can expect is productive, meaningful, and respectful conversations about any and all matters concerning policing. I'm not interested in people who just want to tell me what I want to hear, but sometimes telling me what I need to hear. So this is not a group intended to be all, you know, everyone loves the police and we're not doing anything wrong or doing anything that we need to adjust. We realize that policing is an evolution. And we will be better tomorrow than we are today. And that is the goal and objective of having the guidance and perspectives of this group. So we ask that people bring their perspectives, bring their honest feedback and perspectives. As long as we're doing it in a respectful way, I think it's productive. This group works as a team as well. You know, I rely on the community advisory group to help bring forward perspectives and concerns to my staff from the community, directly from the community. They have recently participated in cultural awareness or cultural diversity training, and they brought that forward as a new initiative last year to our department. Never been done before, and we are better because of it. You know, and also you can assist with us trying to achieve our hiring objectives. So, you know, you can be recruiters for us as well. And then more recently, I think last year, which was a positive change, we started to have members of the community advisory board sit in on some of our promotional processes. So it's important for our community to have a voice in a variety of ways. So anyway, that's kind of an overview of the program, and I don't want to talk too much because really the whole purpose of this is to answer any questions that you might have. But before we do that, I wanted to have the sustaining members maybe introduce themselves and say a few words regarding why you joined this particular group and maybe some thoughts on why you believe it's beneficial. So if we have the ability to have maybe Sunil, if you could start, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chief. My name is Sunil Dar. I joined the Chiefs Advisory Board when Chief Steckler started the program many years ago. Let me see. Okay, start my video. Here we go. I'm being asked to start my video and it is not starting. Here we go. Okay. I joined when Chief Steckler started the program. I was actively involved in those days with the school district, in the local community, and the fire department under CERT. And I continue those passions. I was asked to provide my perspective on the areas that the police department was looking at in those times, specifically in policy and things that Chief Washington already mentioned. I think it's a great program to allow the community input through the various different walks of life that the sustaining members currently follow. As the chief said, we work together as a team. We each bring different perspectives. We've had some healthy debates on traffic lights, license plate readers, drones, things like that, that would bring in different perspectives. And the result was policy that the department may not have started out with, but certainly ended up rolling out because the input from the community, from the advisors, was subtly different from what the initial thought was. And I appreciate the opportunity of being heard by the department. And I think that's an important part as well, that the department listens and the chief listens and values our opinion. And we don't share opinion based on what he wants to hear. We share opinion based on what we think is right for maintaining Fremont as the best place to live. Thanks, Chief.
Yes, and thank you. And that's why it was important to have someone like Sunil here to kind of share that perspective. I could give you my perspective as a chief, but really what it's about is to hear from all of you. And he has represented our group very well over the years, and I really have enjoyed our interactions, over the years. So I don't think, Sunil, I think that we were supposed to be joined by a few other members, but I don't see them in the panelist group. So, Amy, do you have anyone else that has identified themselves as a CAB member? I don't see anyone else even in the.
I'm also looking at our attendees list right now, just going through the names. I don't see the other two anticipated members unless they signed on using a different name. So I would just ask if other board members are here on this call, if you can either raise your hand or send me a chat, let me know so we can promote you to a panelist to speak. Yeah.
Okay, well, seeing none, I wanted to open it up for any questions that our attendees tonight might have. So, Amy, how do you want to handle that?
So we have a few questions that are coming in, but actually before we do that, if I could just go through the few remaining slides, because that may answer some questions, and then we can, depending on the number of questions and the number of people who wanted to speak, we may be able to make some of that happen. So give me 1 second while I resume the PowerPoint presentation. All right, so just going to ask, should be able to see my PowerPoint presentation. We just have a few more slides that we want to go over with you. First, just some important dates to note regarding the advisory board. So today, right now, we are having our virtual information session. Thank you very much for being here. We'd like to let you know that our department is having a police career fair coming up next month on September 16th, which will take place at the Downtown Event Center on 3500 Capitol Avenue from 9 to 2. And on that day, our chief will be present, so will a lot of our other department staff. And if you have additional questions regarding the advisory board that we can't get to tonight, that's a wonderful opportunity for you to come to our career fair to talk to us, talk to our chief, and you can talk to us in person and we can get the rest of your questions answered. Although I'm hoping that we can answer all these questions tonight, but if not, there is this other opportunity for you to join us on September 16th. The application deadline for the Chiefs Advisory Board is on Friday, September 22nd. You will find the application, the materials, and all instructions on our website at fremontpolice.gov/CAB. And to submit your application, please do so before the deadline. And there is an application and 2 letters of recommendations required. And you can submit via one of these two ways. You can either email everything to us, or you can mail it to the police department, to the office of the chief, or you can personally drop off the package at our lobby during regular business hours. This information is available on the website. Just wanted to point it out to you that you can email the application or mail them or drop them off. And finally, contact information after this call. If you want to talk to us via phone, please give us a call at the office of the chief at 790-6811 or emailed us. And also please remember September 16th, we do have that career fair coming up. So it's another opportunity for you to ask some questions in person. Okay, so now I am going to stop the PowerPoint presentation. And then let's go into the Q&A. So we have a couple of questions that have already come in that I've answered. Basically, a few people were specifically interested. There was a question on technical difficulty. One question did come in about whether or not there will be regularly scheduled board meeting. And if so, if there is a specific day, it will be held on each month or week or quarter. So I've provided a preliminary answer. So basically there will be some type of a regularly scheduled meeting, likely once every 2 months or so, but the schedule specific days are to be determined by the board. So as of right now, we don't exactly know when or which days the meetings will take place. So I don't know, Chief, if you want to add to that.
Yes, that's correct. You know, we're gonna, since this is an expansion and the district members are a little bit different than the sustaining members, they won't meet quite as frequently. And so once we get everyone on board, we'll talk about that based on, the best date, the best days of the week that works for most people. So yeah, more to come on that.
All right, and then just going through the list right now. How do you determine suitability to join the board?
Yeah, so really this is a great question because a lot of, we don't know a whole lot about folks who are applying. So one of the sustaining members, myself, and a representative from the city manager's office will review our applications, assess the needs of the group, meaning we want to diversify the group as much as we can. And so it may come down to trying to do just that. Are there perspectives or thoughts or backgrounds and experiences out there that we don't currently have on our group? It may come down, it likely will come down to that. And so, we know we're not going to be able to select everyone. And so what we're going to hope for is that if you're not selected this time, that you will give us permission to carry your application over. If someone does not, quits the group or rotates out, then we would hope that you would still have interest to provide that feedback.
All right, next question. Which districts are currently not or underrepresented on the panel?
Yes, another good question. I think we have the majority of the districts represented. There might be one or two that aren't represented. So understanding that this current wave that we're going to have all 6 districts represented. So no matter what we currently have now, we're going to ensure that 1 through 6 is represented. So there'll be at minimum 6 folks that are picked up from these various districts. And so that's to ensure that we're not missing out on any district, because I think we're short 1 or 2 districts as the group currently stands.
Right. Next, we have common question. We all have the ability to express our voice and our opinion today as a non-board member. How can I best help the Fremont PD as a board member?
Wow. Yeah. Again, another fantastic question. So yeah, everyone can express their opinion or have a voice in our society right now. Absolutely. The difference between being on this board and other ways in which you can express your opinion, it is the dialogue, it is the access, it's the back end, it's the meetings and the debates and the discussion. And that's how we really start to make meaningful change, right? I may read something in the press, or I may get an email from a community member, but until we have the dedicated time to sit down and hear each other and hear that perspective and really think through and respect each other's opinions and thoughts, that's where I feel the value of this board is. And so as a board member, having that access, I can call up one of the board members, between meetings, and if I have a question about something that maybe they brought up, or they have they've been in the community, a certain segment of the community in which I need a better understanding, I have that immediate access myself as a chief to someone that is embedded in the community. So I think that's the difference between being a board member and the value that I see in being on the board.
Right. Next, are the meetings in person or online?
Yes, so we have transitioned back to mainly in person. We do have an online option occasionally as an option, but it really is preferred that we get back in person. I think it's more productive to have in-person meetings. I feed you, so I come with snacks and refreshments and those type of things. So right now we're probably gonna stay with the in-person and have an online option, but eventually I'd like to phase back into having in-person meetings, unless there's some sort of extenuating circumstance in which you need to join online.
All right. What should I expect my time commitment to be?
Yeah, so maybe Sunil can help me out with this, but the sustaining members, we meet for an hour, try to keep it right at an hour to be respectful of everyone's time. That's per month. And then we have certain projects or special projects that we are tasked with every so often. Like last year, the Community Advisory Board developed a training program for newly hired officers. They gave the history of Fremont. They gave cultural perspectives. And so it wasn't the entire board, but it's kind of a subcommittee that took that on. And it was, it took some work, but it wasn't, I don't think it was too taxing, knowing that the majority of the individuals that participate on this board have full-time lives and careers and those type of things as well. So Sunil, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, Chief, I was going to say that besides the hourly meetings that we have, I know in the past when we've had policy discussions that I've actually done some research ahead of time to be prepared to have that discussion, because you want to come fully prepared. I've had conversations with people in the community about a topic that we're going to discuss, and today I actually I was sharing the cultural aspects and the aspects of the historical aspects of the city of Fremont to the new officers. So it can vary between the 1 hour a month to whatever else you feel you want to explore to help contribute back to the department and the policies and the issues that are ongoing. A couple hours a month at the most is what I would think at the outside.
Right. Thank you both. Next, a little related. What are the expectations and responsibilities for board members?
Okay, yeah, and I have my list in front of me, but some of the general expectations are to, attend and participate in the monthly scheduled meetings. The whole purpose of this is to engage. So we do expect, the members to attend consistently. We understand life, vacations get in the way, but, consistent attendance is important. And if life changes in which a member can no longer attend consistently, then we talk through that and we'll make some adjustments, and maybe we'll ask, maybe they have to take a time out, and we'll re-engage at some point in the future. Honest and productive dialogue. And the focus is to help FPD be better and succeed. And so that is important as well. we do want you to complete a community police academy, and that is something that we haven't yet started back up, right, Amy? We haven't started those back yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, so at some point, we want you to attend a community, community police academy. And what that is, you know, I don't want you to panic as far as a police academy. It's just it's a meeting. It's a meeting to give you perspective on the variety of services that the police department provides. You'll learn more about the K9 and the why behind the use of the K9 program. We may talk about drones. We may talk about use of force. All of those things are embedded in that that community police academy. We will treat each other with respect. That's for sure. That's important because that's how we get things done, is hearing each other and not screaming at each other. And, you know, more so than ever, because of the divide that we see in our country, we need to talk. We need to talk to each other and not yell and not talk at each other. So that is an expectation for sure. We want you to be as active as you want. If you want to attend events like Honors Night, where we honor our police officers and our staff on significant accomplishments, community events, things of that nature, we encourage that. You know, if there's an ad hoc committee like we talked about, if there's a special project or something like that, again, based on your availability, how much time you have, you can certainly participate in that. None of this is mandatory, by the way, except for the consistent attendance, for sure. That is, and the respectful conversation. And then, you know, like we said, if you can participate in our promotional processes and those type of things, that's a benefit to the department as well. So all of those are expectations. However, you know, if you never sat on an oral board panel during your 2-year time here, you know, that's understandable because we only have a certain number of promotional processes and the opportunity may not be there for one. And for two, that may not be something that you're interested in. So that's not a deal breaker for us whatsoever. We have some flexibility as far as your contributions. We don't want people just to be on the board and not contribute at all. That kind of defeats the purpose. I want to hear from you. I want the community to be involved and participate in their police department. That's the sole objective. So those are some of the expectations amongst others that you could look forward to.
Thank you, Chief. Next, we have 2 different questions that are related to businesses from different users, but I thought I'd mention it. So the first one is, what is Fremont doing to prevent business invasion for shoplifting? The second one is there a perspective from small business owners that you're specifically looking for? They're from 2 different users, but I thought I'd mention it since they're both related to businesses.
Yeah, the first one is what are we doing to prevent business
invasion, shoplifting,
or
basically.
shoplifting? Yeah, so I'll briefly touch on that because that it, you know, it's related to the purpose of this meeting, but that's a separate conversation about crime and those type of things. But I can tell you that last year we adjusted existing staffing within our department to focus on organized retail theft. So we have a detective now dedicated to that issue. We also offer what we call site assessments that you can contact the police department and we'll come out to work with you to try to mitigate any of the criminal activity that you might be experiencing. And also we revitalized and re-engaged our crime reduction team, that if there is a spike or a trend in certain crimes impacting businesses, we will task that unit to try to mitigate the criminal activity in that particular area. So there's probably 3 or 4 other things that I could talk about. However, you know, if you want to follow up and have more discussion on that, maybe Amy, we can get the information of the person who submitted that question and have some follow-up conversation.
Thank you.
And
So the other question is there a perspective from small business owners that you're specifically looking for?
yes, the impacts of exactly what we just talked about, right? So the small businesses, we have large businesses, obviously, in Fremont, and because there's so many people congregating in a certain area, we may have traffic monitoring and traffic control and extra patrol checks around those areas just because of the sheer volume of individuals that descend upon that particular area. However, we support our small businesses as well. We know that quality of life issues and low level and major criminal activity has a direct impact, right? That is not as easily absorbed by smaller businesses. So, if you have a small business, I am interested in having that perspective on the board so that we can better align our objectives and our plans to better support small businesses in our city.
Thank you. Do you currently have local churches and private schools covered with your existing board members?
I'm not sure. We have some persons who are associated with faith-based organizations. However, I don't think we have anyone from private schools. I may be wrong on that. Maybe Sunil knows better, but that may be something where that's the diversity that I'm talking about, right? I want to have those different perspectives. So I don't think anyone from a private school is represented on the board.
I agree, Chief. I don't think there's anyone from the private school area.
Right. How do board members know that they're representing their community and not just their personal opinions?
Well, that's kind of a tricky question because I'm sort of interested in their personal opinions as a representative of the community. However, I'm not interested if you have a personal agenda. So if you have an agenda that you're trying to push forward, this is not a political body. There's no politics in this board. So that's what I would try to guard against and try to identify is you have a kind of a political agenda that kind of strays away from just your personal opinion. That's probably likely going to be detrimental to the board because what we're trying to accomplish is exactly what the question gets at is a representation of the community so that we can do all we can for the community.
What major topics do you anticipate the board discussing in the next year?
Oh, wow. You guys have some really, really good questions. Well, what we've been dealing with over the last couple of years, right? The public perception of law enforcement. I think the use of technology is going to be expanded. And so I believe that, the community will want to discuss things like privacy and responsible use of those tools. I think staffing as well, rethinking how we deploy resources. We know that there is a national staffing crisis as it relates to law enforcement officers right now in this country. But are there different ways? Can we think differently about using professional employees, folks who are not sworn, and could we think differently about how we responsibly deploy our resources? So I think those are some of the major topics. Oh, and then obviously crime trends and where we think criminal behavior is going, right? We've had this explosion of catalytic converter thefts, and we're just now catching up to that explosion, right? And using technology and things and legislation to try to mitigate that. And then the ongoing evolving expectations of our community. What's beneficial for this board is that I, as a police chief, can anticipate where we're headed as a law enforcement profession based on the legislation that's being passed, communities' calls for um, um, the evolution of policing, I can anticipate that, right? An example that I had many years ago was when body cams first came out. There was some real reluctance in the law enforcement profession to have body cameras. But the community was very vocal and very communicated their strong support of having body cameras. So if you pay attention and you really listen to the community, now if you're an agency that doesn't have body cameras, you're the minority, right? Everybody has body cameras. And so that was an example of just listening to the community helped anticipate where we were going to go. The last thing, I think there's going to be more standardization of policies and procedures throughout the country. Right now, each individual, for the most part, each individual agency is able to develop and implement policies specific to communities, their particular community. I think there's going to be more calls for standardizing some of those policies as we move forward. So that's just some of the things that I think are on the horizon for law enforcement.
Okay, Chief, you sort of touched on the next question. What challenging issue or matter is the board currently addressing now?
Yeah, I think the main thing right now is just staffing. For me as a police chief, staffing impacts operations. If I don't have adequate staff, I'm not going to be able to deliver the type and amount of service that this community deserves. I'm competing with all the agencies that are around us right now. Fremont is still one of the top destinations. We get a lot of lateral officers who want to come here, but it is a difficult job market for law enforcement right now. So, we've had some discussions on that. Recently, the Drone of First Responder initiative, the Community Advisory Board was really instrumental in helping me move that forward. In fact, we're on target to have a September 1st launch date. And so those are some of the pressing issues right now. And then how to deal with employee morale. Because of the, you have COVID on top of, internal tragedies. And then you layer on top of that some unfair criticism and critique of the profession as a whole. That's taken its toll on our staff. If there's room for improvement or we make a mistake, that's one thing. But the frustrating thing is when there's unfair criticism or critique of an officer's actions, and that takes a toll. And so, how do we continue to be mindful of that and ensure that we are doing all we can in the area of employee wellness and safety and those type of things?
All right, we have one last question, which is not necessarily related to the board, but the question is, what role does Fremont anticipate in adopting artificial intelligence in policing?
Yeah, so I appreciate the question, but I'm going to save it for the board because we have not had a very a conversation about this topic. And so this is the exact type of topic that the board, I would rely on the board to start those initial conversations. I know the technology is out there. There's laws back and forth. You can use it, but you have to, here are the restrictions and those type of things. But this is something that this is the exact purpose of the Chiefs Community Advisory Board, is to start having these conversations about this technology that I believe is a tool that could help mitigate criminal activity. So we'll save that one for the board.
Okay, we have one other common question that came in. Police have been stereotyped as being bad people. We should do all we can to help our police department. Otherwise, who are you going to call when you need help? Oh, thank you for the comment. More of a comment than a question. Looks like those are all of the questions that we have through the Q&A box.
All right. Well, I just wanted to thank you all once again for your interest. You're here for a reason, so I'm hoping that you have either submitted or you plan to submit your application. And just by the comments, the questions that we received tonight gives me great hope that as we expand this very important group, that it's really going to help the police department and our community in the long term to be better and safer. So I thank you. It is a wonderful privilege and honor to serve this community, and this is what makes Fremont special. I'll end with, although we have criminal activity in our city, and I'm going to do everything I can to reduce the impact and harm that is caused by criminal activity, we still have a wonderful, safe city. It is one of the safest cities in America based on the population that we have. And it's only that way because of the relationship between the police department and the community. So with that, Amy, that's all that I have. I thank you and your team as well. Sunil, thank you for your contributions. And Amy, I'll turn it back over to you.
You're on mute, Amy.
Thank you, Sunil. I thought I unmuted. So I'm just sharing the slide one more time. Just wanted to thank everyone for being here. Again, if you have additional questions and if you want to talk to us in person, please come join us at our upcoming career fair on September 16th. Otherwise, please go to our website and review the application information and instructions and submit your application by September 22nd. And thank you again for your time. I will be ending this meeting shortly. And this meeting will be posted on our website within the next few days. So thank you so much for your time.